just want to say, I hope everyone's staying safe during this time. Obviously, it's not ideal, but hopefully we can use this time to, come spend a little more time with our families and kind of make the most of it. I know during this time it's around playoff time, and obviously I'd be really excited to, you know, partake in that. It'd be my first year, and it'd be really exciting, especially for the fans and everyone. But hopefully we can get back to playing pretty soon.
Hi, John. Appreciate your time, and I hope you and your family are all safe at this time.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you. Just curious. It wasn't too long ago that you suffered your injury. Just how are you on that front with your face and everything?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, obviously this time has given me a lot of time to heal and recover. And if we start playing again soon, I don't think I'll have to wear the full face mask. So you can kind of take advantage of that. So yeah, at least it gave me some time to heal up.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we'll go to Sam Kassan from PittsburghPenguins.com.
Hey, John, I guess I'll give you the softball ones. Where are you holding up now with quarantine? Who are you with? And what have you been doing to keep busy, whether it's books, shows, movies, stuff like that?
Yeah, right now I'm in Hilton Head staying with some family members, just trying to catch up on some TV shows and, playing a lot of, some board games and spending time with family, being outside, enjoying the warm weather. But honestly, just trying to stay busy pretty much like everyone else.
Next, we'll go to Mike DeFabo with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
My question for you, John, is I'm curious if this pause has given you an opportunity to kind of like step back and reflect on your rookie year, or at least what's happened so far. And I'm curious, like, if you look back, is there any kind of like a welcome to an NHL moment that you had, and how would you evaluate how you did in your first season?
Welcome the NHL moment. I mean, honestly, just playing against those big time guys for the first time, whether it be like a Patrick Kane, McDavid, any of those guys really. So, I mean, the first couple of games of the season, each one was kind of a pinch yourself moment. But overall, I think it went pretty well. I mean, it's still a learning process, and kind of each game still is a learning process. Talking with the coaches and the coaching staff and going over the little things just to kind of, round out my game. But overall, I thought it went pretty well. And, obviously having a good team, that helped out a lot too.
Next up is Wes Crosby with NHL.com.
Hey, John, thanks for doing this, especially given the circumstances. I was just wondering, just with the past few months, you take the shot from Stamkos and you're injured there, you need surgery, and then your rookie season gets interrupted soon after you're able to return. Just how weird, strange, challenging have these past been for you?
Yeah, obviously it's not ideal, but I mean, you kind of just take it day by day. I mean, being able to come back and get a couple games under my belt, with the full shield, I wore it in college, so it wasn't too much of a difference. Had to adjust a little bit to that, but it's tough sitting out, whether you're injured or you're not playing or whatever it might be. But you just take it one step at a time and do what you can and kind of take all the positives you can out of it. Whether you can work on little stuff from your game when you have more time to practice. And I was on the ice working with the skills coach Ty, and I think that helped me out too when I was able to come back.
All right, we'll go back to Seth Rohrbaugh from the Tribune Review.
Hi, John. There was a lot of curiosity, at least externally, from people like myself about how yourself would handle the rigors of the NHL season, for a first-year pro. Just before the shutdown, how were things for you physically after, I think it was like maybe 50 or so games for you, whereas the most you had ever played in college was 30. Just where were you physically in that?
Definitely a little, bumps and bruises here and there. I mean, there were definitely some, I wouldn't say injuries, but, some nagging stuff, that you don't really experience until you play, the full NHL season, or, you play that many games. You don't really think about it in college. You're only playing on the weekends, and then you have the whole week to rest up your body. Whereas, there's not as much rest time in the NHL, and it's all about really preparation, nutrition, and doing all those little things, and kind of staying in contact with the athletic trainers and letting them know, communicating with them to make sure you're going to be, as close to healthy as you can for the games. But yeah, it's definitely a little more of a challenge, but you kind of just got to take it as on a professional level, and, make sure you're aware of what's going on.
Go to Jonathan Bomboli with the Tribune Review.
Hey, John. As far as off ice goes with the injury and the pause here, no one could have expected, what was your rookie year was going to be like. I wonder about on ice stuff. Like, what parts of the game were what you expected, and what parts were kind of unexpected for you? Whether you're talking about like systems or D zone or special teams or whatever.
Or you mean like the transition to the NHL on ice?
Yeah. What you expected? What was different than what you expected?
I'd say what I was expected was obviously a much higher pace of play. Everyone can contribute, everyone's skilled, everyone can make a play. So you always have to be aware of, and every game's a battle too. You can't really take any games off. Now, not that you're taking games off in college, but if you're going into a game where your team's probably gonna should win the game, you probably take a step back. But in the NHL, you can't take a step back. Every shift you have to compete, you have to be ready for, and I think that was kind of eye-opening for sure.
Go to Mike DeFabo at the Post-Gazette.
Hey, John. I think initially your plan would have been to stay in college had the Penguins not acquired you. I'm curious, had that gone as planned, what kind of classes would you have been taking right now at Harvard? Like, what would you be doing right now had you not gone that route? And I'm also curious if you ever plan to go back and eventually kind of finish your degree.
Yeah, so I was psychology major with a second year in economics. So obviously along the lines of that, but the summer school is online. So hopefully I'll be able to take some summer school classes and catch up on my credits and take as many as I can, honestly, to finish, just get that out of the way while I can. Because talking with some of the guys on the team who had to go back and finish and get their degree, just the longer you wait, the harder it is. So I think, the best strategy is get it out of the way as soon as you can and, worry about the rest later.
Wes Crosby with NHL.com.
Hey, John. I'm sure the guys as a whole were very helpful for you this season in getting adjusted. But was there a specific guy, whether it's a defenseman or just a teammate in general, or a group of guys that really helped you out this year, just adjusting to the NHL?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of experience in the room, and it's hard to just pinpoint one guy. But I'll just stick with the D core and say pretty much everyone in the D core helped me with the transition. I mean, whether it be the younger guys like Pettersson, who, was very vocal and, I was always talking to him about my game and about his game and how we played together, or, someone who's been around a lot longer, like Dumoulin, Schultz, Letang, Johnson. I mean, they're all just great guys. And then, they help you with the little things. And, obviously it's a big transition going from college hockey to playing that many games and dealing with the season. And, if you have a bad game or make a bad play, they just say, shrug it off, keep playing your game, don't worry about it. And, they were great the whole year. And I think that made a big difference.
Seth Rohrbaugh with the Tribune Review.
John, just given the limitations we all have right now with social distancing and whatnot, what kind of things are you able to do as far as workouts or training regimen right now?
Yeah, so I've been in contact with the trainers, and we send them the equipment that we have here, and they come up with your own workout plan. But being here, at least get to be outdoors. Whether going for a run or bike ride, and kind of play some tennis or just be as active as possible. I mean, not all have a full gym setup, but you make the most of it, and it's just all about commitment and discipline.
Seth, if you have another one, go ahead.
John, just what you mentioned this a little bit earlier in terms of like the diet or the training and things like that. But what's the one thing that you've learned the most this season, first year pro, as far as the off ice requirements of being a professional? What's the one thing that maybe stands out the most to you in that regard?
Yeah, I'd say definitely taking care of your body. I mean, that goes a long way. It's all about the little things. I mean, it sounds a little cliche, but it's true. I mean, nutrition, stretching before, after games, working out too on the side. All those things add up, and it's big for injury prevention too. How many games we're playing and how high the compete is every game. I mean, I think there was some stat about how many injuries there were this year in the NHL, and there's been a lot lately. But you just want to do everything you can in your power to help yourself avoid that and prepare for everything.
Mike DeFabo from the Post-Gazette.
Hey, John. This is obviously a unique situation, and one of the things that makes it unique is you obviously can't get on ice and skate. I'm curious, what's the longest you had ever gone prior to this without skating? And how long do you think it would take the average hockey player to kind of ramp back up and get back up to speed and be ready to play a playoff caliber hockey?
Yeah, so the longest is probably after like a college season, maybe take like a month and a half off because it ends so early and you have the whole summer. But obviously this is a different circumstance. But probably at least 3 weeks to a month, I'd say, just to get you're feeling back. I mean, even when you take 2 days off during the season and you hop back on the ice, it just doesn't feel right. It takes a little while to get back to it. Like when I took a week off for my injury and came back on the ice, the first time was definitely a little rusty and kind of just got to break back into it. But yeah, I think it's going to be, you definitely need some time to, start skating and get your hands and, feet back under you. But yeah, it's a tough transition.
Jonathan Bomboli from the Tribune Review.
Yeah, in the old days, they used to talk about bringing rookie defensemen along slowly, managing their minutes, managing their responsibilities. You had some time to look back on it now. Do you feel like that was the case with you? Or do you feel like the coaching staff kind of threw you in there and let you learn on the job?
I'd say a little bit of both. In the beginning, it was a little more sheltered, but, the more, they gained a little more trust with me, the more they put me out there. And, I think I was able to take advantage of the opportunity and, still definitely a learning process and have a lot of stuff to figure out. But I think the biggest thing is, the coaching staff putting their trust in me and being able to take advantage of an opportunity.
Michelle Crecchiolo from PittsburghPenguins.com.
Hey, John. Yeah, kind of going off that, like, have you been able to maybe use this time off to do like extra video and try to like learn guys' tendencies, just ways to improve as a player at this time? Or is it more like you need more of a mental break from the grind, having, going through it for the first time?
No, you can definitely, go back and watch your shifts and it's kind of nice to take a break and, kind of sit back and, realize what your strengths and weaknesses are, what you need to work on. During the season, you focus on that, but, not as much because you have to worry about the next game. But, in this circumstance, you can kind of take a step back and just kind of survey what you need to improve on and, what you're best at and those areas that you really need to work on.
From here, John, I just have a couple pre-submitted questions.
Yeah.
First, from DK Pittsburgh Sports, is there any aspect of your game that may have emerged more at the NHL level than at any prior level? If so, why might that have happened?
I'd say maybe the transition game, maybe being able to, the players always find, they know where you're going to be, where they're going to be. You don't really have to second guess, if they're going to make that pass or if they're going to be in that certain spot. So, I mean, I think a lot more people are on the same page, especially when we have our pre-scout meetings or, we talk about video. So those little things kind of add up and, everyone's so smart that it really helps you out too.
Okay. Another one from DK Pittsburgh Sports. How do you expect to do in the Calder Trophy and Rookie All-Star voting?
Yeah. I mean, you don't really worry about that too much. That's kind of out of your control, but I think the biggest thing is just be able to go out there, play every game like you're last and, try your hardest and let the rest worry about itself. You don't worry about it too much.
Okay. And then the last question that I have is, for you personally, what would it be like to play games without fans in the stands if it came to that?
Yeah, I think it'd be tough, for sure. I think Pittsburgh is some of the, if not, the best fans in the league. And, we play in front of that, almost every other night. So I think it's going to be tough. But I mean, if everyone has to do it, it's definitely something that we're willing to do. And yeah, we're just going to have to work through it as a group and, create our own energy, which, I think we can do.